for parents who aren't able to attend tonight, and I will introduce the team. Just a reminder that, as previously, if you do want to ask any questions tonight, then please do use the chat facility, and we'll aim to either respond to those via the chat, or we'll pick those up during the course of the sessions that we're delivering, so that we can answer everything that you've got. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to introduce you to my colleague Rachel.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Rachel Heaver-Webb, and I'm Assistant Head Teacher with responsibility for assessment.
Thank you very much, Rachel. And my colleague Louise.
Good evening, everyone. Louise Ornell, Assistant Head for Teaching and Learning. I'm going to talk to you about the work and the learning.
Thank you very much, Louise. And Mario.
Hi, Mario Mino, Head of Year 7. I'm going to talk to you about the pastoral side of things, and also congratulate you because we've beaten the other heads of year. Just going to leave that trophy there. That's
great. Thank you, Mario. And finally, Leanne. Just waiting to see you, Leanne. Sorry.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for coming along. A great turnout tonight. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Leanne Simmons, and I'm Head Teacher. I think we've just got to go to Vicky, have we?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, thank you very much. And last but by no means least, Vicky, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. My name is Vicky Lewis, and I'm Head of Year for the current Year 11. So very keen to be here tonight.
Thank you very much, Vicky. That's great. So we'll get started, and I'm going to just share my screen and give you the chance to have a look at the new work that has been published for this last half term for our students. It's again published through the academic and student remote learning pages, and again it's a PDF document which is available for you to be able to see as well, so it's easy to access and gives you an overview of all of the students' subjects that they're covering. So there it is, Year 7 work to complete summer term 2. Slightly more condensed this time in terms of the content that is on this document. If I just pick up one of the subjects, you can have a look. It is week by week there, and it gives you an overview of what they're covering, and some extension work that we'll cover just in a moment to give a little bit more detail around that when Louise talks to you about the teaching and learning element of it. But the aim really is now that we are putting all of the work into the teams so that the students have one place in which to go in order to find the content for their lesson, for the learning that they've got to do. So that's the PDF document. Hopefully that is something that you've already seen. We'll have emailed you the link out to that, and that is there for you on the remote learning pages. Just a reminder from our school website as well, the students can access the new learning zone from here, as well as their email, and a home access portal which will allow them to find their My Documents and school documents easily from home if they need to. So a one-stop shop for lots of information here, and our help videos on that remote learning page as well there, as you can see. So that's the PDF document that we put up. I'd just like to share for you this time the Teams page so that you can see what the students should be seeing. This is my Teams for my classes, and if I go into one of my Year 8 classes, you'll see what the students are seeing on the post, and we're encouraging everybody to put in their information for each of the weeks, and you can see very clearly labelled week 1, week 2, so that the students can see obviously in the post what it is that they need to be doing. If there are any links to any external information or files that they need, their teacher will be posting it there for them as well, so that they can access that. And I can just click on the view assignment from that link, and it will take me straight to the work that I'm asking the students to do, and they can see that in the student view. There's a PDF, a PowerPoint for them to have a look through, and some instructions there on how to complete the task. So that is going to be the place where the students should be finding all of their work now. We're asking teachers to label it clearly, and we're asking them to make sure that everything is on that Teams section so that they can see in the post exactly what they need to do. And of course are able to comment in there for their teacher if they're unsure of anything and would like to have anything cleared up. They can post there, and if they do the little @ symbol before the teacher's name, it will ping up in their activity for the teacher, and they'll know that a message has come in. And like me, many teachers will have the Teams app on their mobile phone or a tablet as well, and so that will actually come into their work area so that they can see that somebody's commented, and so the communication can be quite swift in response to the question. There may well be some video lessons happening for year 7s. Won't be all that many, but there may be some, particularly from the tutor. But there might be some drop-in sessions that staff are putting on if they just need to answer questions. And we are asking teachers to calendar these sessions for students so that helps them to be organised so they don't miss anything. We don't want students to be worried about missing things. So if I just show you what that will look like, you can see here that I've got a year 8 lesson on Friday for science, just down the side here. And I can just click into that and it tells me how to join. It's a year 8 science lesson, join with Microsoft Teams. And if I click that at the right time, it will link me into that information as well. So that's just a little bit of an overview, and I know that the students are getting far more familiar now with the use of Teams, and that's something that feedback that we've gained is saying, and so we're just wanting to give you that support and guidance so that you can show the students also where information is, or indeed ask them where that is so that you can get that feedback. So I'm going to pass over to Louise, who's just going to talk a little bit more from a teaching and learning perspective.
Thank you, Claire. So firstly, to the students, any students that are watching this evening, a huge congratulations to you. Like Miss Adams says, you have adapted really well to the Teams. It's been 8 weeks now that you've been working remotely, and we know that whilst that you can pick things up quite quickly, it can be quite challenging to stay motivated, and so we really want to congratulate you for doing that. And we would really like to praise all the parents as well, to just say a massive thank you, because you are pivotal in your child's engagement, and the children have told us themselves in some of the feedback that we've had that to stay motivated, it's you, the parents, as well as us, that keep them going. So thanks for everything that you have been doing so far. Obviously, we want to sustain the motivation, and we are expecting the students to be working in the same way. Everything's a bit more streamlined in Teams, so hopefully that will help. And we would like to encourage the students to keep their independence going in terms of thinking about brain, book, buddy and boss again. Engaging in the posts, there's the opportunity to put comments in the posts. You might find that your peers respond to those as well as your teacher, who is obviously looking at them. So do continue like that. One thing we've noticed is that sometimes students will rush to complete the work when actually they must make sure they're reading the information and the instructions in Teams in the post feed. So we do encourage you students to make sure you're reading the instructions carefully. Of course, if you're not sure of anything, get in touch with your teacher in the post feed, or you can send an email. We're going to have a little look, Claire, if that's okay, just at the plans again, because whilst you're going to be assigned work in Teams every week, there are opportunities to do review work. If you finish your work early, would like a bit of extra work to do to supplement your learning, at the bottom, thanks Claire, we have got additional tasks. So these are specific to each subject that have been set. We would always encourage students to do extra reading and extra learning around their different topics. So if you find that your child is finishing quite quickly and you want some extra ideas, they're all in the little section at the bottom. So at the top, we've got in the left-hand side of the grid, the key learning objectives from the plans from last half term. They are the key aspects that we would want the students to remember in each subject. And then on the right, there are some more suggestions of different ways, if they wanted to go back and review their work. So as well as having the learning objectives, we've got the review at the top and the additional learning at the bottom. And we do encourage you to go back and look at those if you find you're finishing your work quickly. Obviously, the management of workload was something we had to consider very carefully. We know that one size doesn't fit all, and we think the students are getting used to trying to get their work done in their 50-minute scheduled lesson time, so following their timetable, but equally we do encourage them still to let teachers know if there's too much work, and teachers are geared up for that in terms of being able to support, to just be clear that it's a manageable amount of work. So we're asking you to continue like that, students. And then a message to the parents, again, that's exactly the same, 2 priorities as last time, please, if we could ask of you for the next 6 weeks. to continue with your encouraging the checking of assignments, to making sure that your children are completing their assignments and they're meeting deadlines. Obviously, that's their responsibility, but if you could check in with them and remind them, that really is very helpful for keeping them engaged and keeping them on top of their work. That's definitely made a big difference so far, so thank you. And secondly, if you do have time in a busy day, we know it's a really busy day and busy weeks, to just ask your child a few questions. Maybe you could just say, what different subjects, what have you done in history today or this week, and suggest a few questions, just probe them a little bit further, try and get them to talk for a minute about what they might have learnt, because we know that that really aids long-term memory. So if you could do those two things again, then we are definitely on the route to success for the next 6 weeks again. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Lou. And just to add to that as well, we are just trialling at the moment in Teams the parental assignment report that will come out weekly. And we're hopeful that we will be able to push that out so that you'll get an idea of the assignments that have been set for your child, also the completeness of those at the end of the week. And one of the things we found is that students are doing the work really diligently, but not always submitting it through the assignment in Teams. So that's just a prompt then for you to be able to say to them, I saw you do this work, it says it's not complete, and then hopefully that will just help us close the loop on making sure that their excellent work and efforts are being rewarded. So thanks, Lou, and I'm going to pass over now to Rachel, who's just going to talk a little bit about progress checks.
Thank you very much. So you will know from the calendar you received at the very beginning of this academic year, a very long time ago now, that had everything been normal, you would now have received the second of the 2 progress checks for this academic year. Now, obviously, as things are very much not normal and we're all working very far apart from each other, it's not appropriate for us to send home one of those normal progress checks where we are able to comment on the flight path and the attainment that your child is currently working at, because obviously they are working from home and we need to make sure that that sort of information is valid. But we do want to give you some feedback about how they have engaged over the course of this whole period when we've not been able to work normally and they've been having to engage so well from home themselves. So towards the end of this term, in the last week on the Tuesday, you will receive a sort of alternative progress check. So we're going to call it the summer engagement, summer subject engagement check. And on that piece of information, you will, for each of the subjects your child does, receive a piece of information from their teacher about their engagement over the whole time that we have been away from school. And you'll see one of 4 different options there. So either the teacher will tell you that your child has engaged well during the course of this time, or that they have engaged with the work in a way that's appropriate and expected, or perhaps that their engagement has been sporadic, or that they have not engaged at all with the work that's been set. Now, the reason that we're doing that is for 3 reasons, really. First of all, obviously, hopefully there won't be any surprises in that, but it does give you a really clear piece of feedback about your son or your daughter's engagement in each of their subjects over a long period of time. So that hopefully will be really, really useful for you to have that at the end of the term. Secondly, and really importantly for us, it allows people like Mr. Massano to be able to recognise the students who have worked fantastically from the beginning against really quite high odds and difficult circumstances, and as we always would do, and Mario always would do after a progress check, to celebrate those children who are working hard, who are doing their best. So it will allow us in school to recognise your sons and your daughters and praise them accordingly. And thirdly, and again really importantly, it will give us some information to move forward with into next year when your children go into their Year 8 classes with their Year 8 teachers, and then therefore that teacher will have some information from whoever has taught them for this academic year about their level of engagement. So it's for those 3 reasons that we are going to do this, and I hope you find that a welcome piece of information. If you are worrying about something that might happen, perhaps your child is ill for a couple of days, or you have an IT disaster at home and it stops them engaging for a little bit of time, please don't worry about that. This is about a long period of time, and we all have, you know, bits that wax and wane in that time for really good reasons sometimes. If there is a bigger issue that stops engagement for a longer period of time, a significant period, then most probably you've told us about that and we know. But if something does happen between now and July, then obviously, as you would do anyway, just let us know so we've got the context for the way that your child is working from home. And then you'll get that, as I said, on the Tuesday, and that will give you a few days to get in touch if it does raise any questions or you have any feedback that you would like to give us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rachel. That's really appreciated, the information on the progress checks. And I'm going to hand over to the main event, Mr. Massimino. Oh, I can't unmute you. Oh, yes, I can. There you go.
There we are. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all well. I want to start by saying a massive thank you and echo what the other guys have said. This doesn't work without you. I feel as though in adversity we are brought together, and actually I feel really close to you as Team Ringwood. I met you a year ago and we talked about Team Ringwood. But it's typified it in this time, the communication, the contact, the support. I've been really pleased with the students, how well the tutors have engaged, how polite and brilliant you as parents have been. You haven't been shy of sending a thank you email, and that's meant a great deal to all of us in this time. So a huge thank you. And in the week that we've had National Empathy Day, I think it's been a tough time, but we're really understanding and looking after each other. I know you've met my children on video calls and things, and I've met some of yours and your pets, and we've all understood that it is challenging and we have worked together. So thank you for that. Each week I've been sending out my weekly to students, and I've been really, really pleased to see what they've been up to, both in terms of schoolwork and extracurricular activities. I've seen amazing baking. A student ran 145k during May. I've seen another student's written a story. I've seen lots of things going on, and we're really keen to see those, especially in our tutor teams. The tutors are still running their teams, and we love to see students in there commenting. The other night it was great to see when Mr. Cooper transmitted a picture of his chair for an hour and a half rather than the French video. Loads of students having a comment, having a great time, really enjoying that, taking bets on when he'd come back, and I saw a few parents in there as well. So looking on the bright side, even when there's challenges, stepping up to them, enjoying it. So I'd really like to say, in your tutor teams, really continue to make comments in there. I know there's a lot of lurkers, but if you could comment, give a thumbs up, your tutors would really love that, because I know the tutors are seeing the engagement from a good number, but I'd like to see everyone as we go into this final few weeks. Your tutors will be calling over the next few weeks, a couple of times to check in with you. I know there's been contact before, but we're going to keep that going to see how you are. Some things I'd like to give feedback on from conversations is about the structure of Students' Day. I've noticed that wake-ups are getting a bit later as I'm making some of my phone. Students are still in bed at 10, 11 a.m. And then they're accessing Teams later on in the evening, which means they're less likely to be able to do some of the fun things in the evening. So if I could help you with that message to students and trying to keep their day as normal as possible, I would try and keep to the timetable, meaning maybe in the afternoon they can see some friends in a socially distanced way. Also maybe study dates. Now we're allowed to meet students, meet people in gardens. Potentially we could go and study with somebody else. Again, in a socially distanced way, but that might help them engage with the work, help consolidation, help discussion. I know I learn better in a group sometimes. I'm quite chatty. So potentially that could be something we set up into the final few weeks. I've also looked at exercise. A lot of parents have said they're finding it hard to get their children up and out. So I would definitely push that if there's time to get out. Naturally, our site is big. We do 10,000 steps a day pretty easily, but that's not happening. It's not many steps from the bedroom to the kitchen or to the office or to the bathroom. So again, finding something they can do to keep them active, to keep their step count up, to get their heart pumping would be brilliant. Joe Wicks is a bit hardcore some days, so if there's other options, please do take that in. On other points, I think don't be afraid to ask students. I know some of you are a bit wary of putting comments in Teams for the fear of putting yourself forward, but if that is a worry, which it shouldn't be, you can always email staff. Staff are really good on their emails. There was an email conversation I saw with a maths teacher today where the maths teacher went, actually, I'll just give you a call. And if we don't know you're struggling, we can't help. So please just pop an email to the teacher. You're not stressing us out. You're not doing more than we need. We'd just like to know if things aren't going very well. So that's my advice on this. And the team and I are here as ever. If it's just a phone call you need, a video chat, I actually quite like checking in with some of you, seeing your smiley faces, telling me what's been going on, meeting your pets. That is a pleasure. And it's the same for your tutors. So we are here if you need us. So do remember. finally, I come to something that's a bit bittersweet. The end of my time with you. It's probably the last time I'm going to speak to you. The transition process is a year. It's kind of a graduating year 7. And again, it's been a brilliant year. They've come on so far. I could have interviewed many, many more families for the year 6 interview I did recently. And I think lots of you would have spoken so well about how far your children have come. So I've been so proud of them, and thank you for your support in this time in making Team Wingwood a really big thing in year 7. And I'm going to hand over to one of the most caring and nurturing people I've ever met, someone who is raring to go because she didn't get the end of year 11 she was hoping for. I'd like to introduce you to Mrs. Lewis.
Oh, hello. I'll pay you later, Mr. Massimino. It's really nice to be included in tonight. I'm really, really looking forward to being your head of year from September. As Mr. Massimino said, I have just been the head of year 11 and I was with them for 5 years. So it's been really great on their journey, right from where you are now to talking about next steps and careers and all the things that we've been involved in. So it's been great. I've really enjoyed it, but I'm very excited to get back to Key Stage 3 and to have a year group who are not all taller than me will be great. I would also just like to say that I am starting to get to know you already, even though I can't meet you yet. Mr. Massimino and I are talking. I'm getting to know you. He speaks very fondly of you all. You sound like a great bunch. So I can't wait to be part of your gang. And, you know, September and year 8 has got lots of exciting things ahead. So I know year 7 is not how you wanted it to be. And I know it's not going to end quite the way you wanted it to, but we've got some really, really good times ahead. Mr. Massimino and I share a lot of common values, and one of those is kindness. And I know that you're all wonder experts, and being kind to each other and being kind to yourself is really, really at my core. And so hopefully that's something that we'll all take forward together into year 8. I just want you to be your best. I don't need you to be better than anyone else. I just need you to be your best. And finally, parents, there are a few names here I recognise, and you'll know that the homeschool link is really, really important to us all. Your job, my job are easier when we work together. So as Mr. Massimino has always been, so is my door always open. My phone is always, I'm on email far too often as well. So please, 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 let's start to get to know each other so that we can hit the ground running with whatever year 8 brings. So thank you.
Thank you both, Mario and Vicky. Mario, thanks for all your hard work, and Vicky, really looking forward to you working with the students as well. I'm sure they will be too. Just before we conclude, I'm just going to invite Leanne to just say a few words to year 7s and their parents.
Thank you, Claire. I would just echo what my colleagues have said about how well everybody in year 7 has been engaging and working in such a strange environment and such a strange time. It's been so unusual for all of us, and we'd like nothing more than a magic wand and all to be able to go back to school and back to normal tomorrow, because we miss you incredibly. We're all very sociable people, which is why we've gone into teaching, and to be in our little rooms in our houses just keep emailing each other rather than seeing each other and sharing things in the way that we would normally do has been difficult for us. So we can absolutely appreciate that it would be even more difficult for your children, but they have kept themselves going and they've kept themselves motivated, and we're so proud of them for that, and for you for keeping it all together as well. Most of us are also homeschooling, so we know the challenges of doing everything. And you made me smile about your Joe Wicks, because I did Joe Wicks with my son this morning, and I ate quite a lot. So yes, it has been a strange time, but we will always want to work in partnership with you, and thank you so much for always coming forward. If there's something we can help you with, please, please, please do continue to do that.
Thanks, Leanne, that's great. And just a final point from me, really, about a couple of e-safety points that have come to light, and just a reminder that speaking to your children about their use of mobile technology, obviously they're going to spend far more time in front of screens now than they would normally. So keeping that dialogue open with them about perhaps what they're doing online, who might be communicating with them, and just ensuring that they're safe to speak to you about it. They may well have once upon a time spoken to somebody in school, their tutor, or perhaps their head of year, Mr. Massimino. So you are the point of call for that for them. So we'd really appreciate any help and support you can give them around staying safe online, and just having that opportunity to talk about what is safety, what is e-safety, and how can they best protect themselves. Sometimes young people get themselves into situations that they don't really know how to get out of. So it's our job and role as the adults to really help them feel safe in a safe space, to just say when things haven't gone quite as they expected it to. So please do keep an eye on that, on their mobile technology use, particularly around Instagram and Snapchat, if they have got it, or perhaps they may have it and you not be aware of it. So anything you can do to talk to them about that would be great. The government did produce some guidelines back at the end of April for parents and carers, actually about working with children while they are homeschooling and being away from the main school body. So it covered things about looking after our own mental well-being as adults, so that we can best provide for our young people. So please do think about that, and think about how perhaps the media influence can have an impact on how our children feel. There's quite a lot of information coming into homes, and having that chance to talk openly about it, maybe ironing out any misconceptions that our children have, so that they feel able to talk and listen to about their feelings and concerns. Mental well-being is really important at this time and always for us. The children were introduced to an app on their mobile devices called Think Ninja, which was brought into by Hampshire local authority and is made in conjunction with CAMS, and that is a really great app. And it doesn't have to be at a time when you're feeling particularly overwhelmed. It can just be for good mental health, and that's really important, that we stay well in our mental well-being, as well as Mr. Massimino saying in our physical health. So do have a look at that. If you haven't already downloaded it, students can register with our postcode, which associates them to Ringwood School, and that is an AI in there which will just go through some questions, and if the system feels that maybe the child needs to be escalated to speak to somebody, a human, then it will do that automatically, and they can get access there through that. So hopefully just another point of call for you to think about while you're all working from home. And sometimes you'll get calls this week from tutors, maybe from teaching assistants as well. So if any call does come through to your mobile that is withheld, that's likely to be from school. So please do be brave and answer that. Hopefully it won't be anything that you're not expecting, but a great chance to have contact for those students who perhaps have needed additional support in school. Then our teaching assistant team are really well versed with the Year 7 work at the moment. They're doing some really diligent work, looking at what subjects the students are doing, what assignments are being set, and really helping to guide them with that. So don't miss that opportunity if you know that that your students have been working with a TA during the normal school time, because they're still there. We're all still here for you, and like Mrs. Simmons said, we're missing you as much as you are missing the normality of being in school. And we thank you so much for your time. Remember our safeguarding pages and wellbeing pages on our website, if perhaps even not for yourself, but to signpost any families who you think might need help. The food bank is on there, as well as our safeguarding email address. So please do utilise that. And if you can see that participants don't include friends that you know, then please let them know that the video will go online tomorrow on our YouTube page, and so people will be able to watch the recording back at their leisure. And of course, if you need to recap on anything, then it's available for you to do that as well. So just comes for us to say thank you very much for your time. We do appreciate you coming and being with us this evening. We don't normally do this, but I was thinking that as Mr. Massimino is saying goodbye, I'll stop the recording early, and if families would like to put their cameras on and wave goodbye as they leave, I know Mr. Massimino would absolutely love to see you. So I'm going to stop the recording now.